Stephen A. Smith, we're going to start with you here. Should Ramsey be complaining about his ranking?
I don't think so. But it's not because I think 26 players are better than him. I think that in the sport of football, you got to understand people do different jobs. People do. It's like, you know, you're on basketball court or whatever. There's 5 guys in the starting line. We've got 5 reserves. But there's only like 3 positions, basically. And positions are interchangeable. If you are a cornerback, you ain't a linebacker. You ain't a defensive lineman. You ain't a wide receiver. You ain't a running back. You see what I'm saying? And so if somebody were to say, Jalen Ramsey, there's 10 cornerbacks better than you. Now, I understand that. Right. You insulted by that. That makes sense. But if they say they got you ranked 27th as a cornerback and maybe only 1 other cornerback is on the list, and about 5 of them are quarterbacks, and about 3 of them are linebackers, and about 5 of them are defensive linemen, then that's a different ball game. So I don't mind the fact that he complained, because you're bringing attention to yourself and you're reminding everybody that not only are you great, but you know how great you are. But I'm talking about in the crevices of your heart and the privacy of your own soul at home. When you walk away, there's really nothing to be upset about unless you looked on the list, because I haven't seen the list. Unless you looked on the list and saw like 4 or 5 quarterbacks ahead of you at your position. That's a different argument.
Right. So they haven't gotten to the top ones yet, so we don't know who's ahead of him. But I don't suspect that they're going to put very many corners ahead of him. They have Stephon Gilmore at corner ahead of him, so he could be upset about that.
Yeah.
But I know all the positions that you name, with the exception of quarterback, there's nobody out there who does a more difficult job than Jalen Ramsey, and he does it as good as anybody in the league. So I'm okay with him being upset if they put a defensive tackle in front of him. No disrespect for defensive tackles, with the exception of Aaron Donald. They're not impacting the game the same way Jalen Ramsey is. Same thing for, I mean, I think there are a few players. I don't think Jalen Ramsey should be number 1, but his impact on the game is larger than almost any other position. At that position, playing corner on that defense, a team that's predicated on their defense, he's the best in the league.
You know what? I appreciate your context. I appreciate your explanation, but I think you need to understand that there's a whole bunch of aficionados out there telling us, okay, because again, I might argue with you in a whole bit, but I'm a reporter. I defer to cats who played the game first, and I'm going to be very clear. What people in my position are being told is that damn defensive line, that ability to get at the quarterback is so much bigger. That's what they're saying. Whether they're right or not, I'm not debating, but that's what they're saying to us.
I don't disagree with the defensive line being important to him playing well, but you can't dissect those two things. They are interconnected, and some sacks that they get are a result of Jalen Ramsey's coverage and him getting interceptions in the back, taking the ball off of Antonio Brown in the back of the end zone in the playoff, or excuse me, in the regular season last year. Those are things that Calais Campbell can't do. He's not creating those turnovers. So I understand that, and I agree with it. Those things are connected, but he is as good as anybody in the league in that position in the modern age of football. As much as passing is important, it's hard to argue that if you have a guy who you can put on your on the opponent's number 1 receiver and not worry anymore, that frees up defensive coordinators, and it alleviates stress on almost the entire team.
I don't know why he's pissed off. I just let it ride. It's 100 players. The top 100 players is not voted on by the players. So what is he so pissed off about? I talk about this every year, year in and year out with my friends. I think this is a bunch of baloney, because there's a lot of guys that make this top 100 that don't even play the entire year. There was one year where J.J. Watt was hurt, and he made the top 100. And I'm like, how did he make the top 100 this year when he didn't play last year? Like, is it based off the stuff that he did before this year? Like, Le'Veon Bell made it one year, and I told him, I was like, bro, like, you didn't even play. He was like, yeah, like who's voting on this? Like, how are these guys even getting?
I think it's voted on by the players.
It's the NFL Network. It's the NFL Network poll. I don't know exactly who's voting on it, though.
I thought it was the players. No, I can understand being disrespected by the players.
It's a players' vote. I've been told it's a players' vote.
Yeah, it's a players' vote.
Players in the league
I could understand.
Voted according to a poll conducted by the NFL Network. Players in the league, that was their vote.
I could understand being disrespected. Yeah, you feel like the players should know better than that.
Okay, I can feel that then. Yeah, I'm pissed off for you now, Jalen.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.